What is going on, Jet fans? Matt O'Leary back with another video. In today's video, I will be taking a look at two big Jet stories from today. One is that the New York Jets have expressed interest in Kendrick Bourne. The second is that they should look to reunite with someone that the Jacksonville Jaguars just cut in Foley Fatukasi. Let's get into it. We will start with Kendrick Bourne. It is reported that the New York Jets are one of the teams that could potentially be interested in Kendrick Bourne, coming off of a 2023 season that only saw him play 8 games. He did unfortunately get hurt after 8 games, but he was the leading receiver this past year for the New England Patriots through the first half of the season, 406 yards, 4 touchdowns. His best year came in 2021 when he had 800 yards and 5 touchdowns in 2021. He is a familiar face as the Jets have gone up against him a few different times, and I would classify him as a solid player. He's not elite like this. By the way, if the Jets sign Kendrick Bourne, do not then assume the Jets just found their wide receiver too. That is not the case. This is more than likely, if they were to sign him, this would be a better wide receiver 3 option than what Allen Lazard currently gives you. So if there's interest in Bourne, you better hope that there is a bigger swing coming with that as well. He's 6'1", 205 pounds, does not drop the ball, which is a major win because the Jets receivers have shown unfortunate tendencies of having drops be a major part of their game. He could play inside and outside. He's not particularly fast, but he's good in contested catch situations because he doesn't really show his hands until late, and then he'll boom, flash the hands up and catch the corners off guard because he's not making it obvious that the ball is coming. And because of his good hands, he probably would be a good fit for Zach Wilson, but not that Zach Wilson's going to be a Jet much longer. But the passes that aren't always on the money, he tends to come down with more than not, which is obviously a win and something that I would take as a plus. Taking a look at his projected contract, PFF is estimating that he will get 2 years, $14 million, which is $7 million AAV. Obviously, as we know, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a $7 million cap hit, but somewhere around that margin, which isn't really wide receiver 2 money. That's more wide receiver 3-4 money, which at the right price, yeah, I could get in on that. I think he would be an okay 3rd or 4th wide receiver for the New York Jets. He can't be the main target in free agency or, to be like, okay, we're going to go out in 11 personnel. It's going to be Garrett Wilson. It's going to be Kendrick Bourne, and it's going to be Allen Lazard. That does not move the needle for me at all. Even with Aaron Rodgers coming back, even with a very obvious upgrade at the quarterback position, we know he's going to be able to elevate some of those guys. There's no doubt. I would like the Jets to also make a bigger swing. So they could have their interest in him and they could sign him as I said, a depth option. We'll say your 3rd wide receiver, but they better have a better plan for who else they are going to sign. If they sign Kendrick Bourne on day 1 of free agency or the legal tampering period comes out and we get the tweet, Kendrick Bourne expected to sign with the New York Jets, 2 years, $14 million. Great. And then I'm saying, okay, nice. What else? Because that does not complete the wide receiver room, in my opinion, which is fine. Again, you're probably going to have to add multiple bodies. If this is one of them, sure. The main guy, that's not what he is. Okay, here is part 2. Former New York Jet Foley Fatukasi has been cut by the Jacksonville Jaguars on his birthday, no less. That is cold-blooded. But he was a New York Jet from 2018 to 2021, and I would like the New York Jets to bring him back. I am in. Count me in on the return of Foley Fatukasi. Why? Well, he is very good against the run. That was his calling card for the New York Jets, especially when he played. He didn't play a ton as a rookie, but in 19, 20, 21, that's why he got himself on the field with the Jets, is because his play against the run. Now, granted, after the 2021 season, he left in free agency and, to his credit, got a massive contract from the Jacksonville Jaguars. He got an absolute bag from them, and good for him for going out there and getting his in free agency. Unfortunately for Jacksonville, he didn't exactly live up to that big bill. He didn't, he had 24 tackles in 16 games this past year. He's not a guy who's going to get you any sacks or anything like that, but is he someone who you could potentially sign as the Jets for a cheap, I'm talking close to veteran minimum, depth option who could help you out on early downs against the run? Absolutely. And you'll see people say the Jets should bring back either Quentin Jefferson or someone else, Sheldon Rankins. And I totally agree with that. Like, I'm not saying that if you sign Foley, that doesn't then stop you from signing one of those two guys. I totally agree with you, but they are very different role players on the interior defensive line. A Sheldon Rankins or Quentin Jefferson is an interior defensive lineman that is going to get a little bit more pressure and create sacks and be a little bit more of a factor in the pass rush game. That's not Foley Fatukasi's game. He is going like first, second down, obvious running situations. You're putting him out there, clogging up the middle of the field with Quinnen Williams, who is also really solid against the run. And let's be honest, at times last year, this Jets defense was great. They finished third in the league in defensive DVOA. Very few complaints about this New York Jets defense. But if there's an area where you can critique them or say that this is an area where they could improve, the run game is one of those spots. And on the interior, especially when Al Woods went down, Quentin Jefferson went down, the Jets didn't really have that interior guy besides Quinnen Williams, who was steady against the run. Like Solomon Thomas, that's not really his game. Solomon Thomas is fine depth as well, but I'm talking a stout run-stopping guy. They're both they're different than what a Sheldon Rankins or Quentin Jefferson is, but you need those guys. And I would be for it, whether it's signing Foley Fatukasi for a cheap veteran deal, whether it's spending one of your 2 fourth-round picks on a guy like that. I would expect the Jets to be active in trying to fill that hole, because it is a hole. And we're not going to talk about it as much as backup quarterback, the wide receiver room, the offensive line, because those are much more glaring issues. But on the defensive side of the ball, they need someone like this. So Foley is absolutely a name that I would keep my eye on, and I would be pro the New York Jets bringing him back. I think it would be wise to do that. But I want to hear from you guys. Let me know your thoughts down below on, one, the idea of bringing in Kendrick Bourne as a free agent, and number two, if you think the Jets should bring back Foley Fatukasi in a reunion situation to play on the interior of the defensive line. Sound off below in the comments. Please make sure to subscribe if you're new. Give the video a like before you go, and I'll catch you next time.